Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we'll sit down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan, The Long Kiss Goodnight by Rennie Harlan, Reindeer Games by John Frankenheimer, Fatman by Esham Nelms and Ian Nelms, and finally, newly released Violent Night, directed by Tommy Wirkola. It's going to be a great show, so stay tuned and enjoy. Mr. Vincent Daly, how we doing, buddy?
Merry Christmas, Tom. How's it going?
Merry Christmas to you. It's going well to me. For me, not quite Christmas, but we have an we have an action Christmas episode for everyone.
Yes. This was I don't know. I mean, even with Spirited last week, it came out on the 11th of November. Who's watching Christmas movies on the 11th of November? I guess we're like Thanksgiving. You know, it's a little bit early, but no. Violent Night, it came out this week, so I was like, all right, we're doing the action movie special, Christmas action.
Thanksgiving marks the beginning of Christmas movie. The 11th is too late. I
thought it was a little early. I guess it's streaming.
Wait, when did Spirited come out?
Spirited came out the 11th. This came out
the 11th of November?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's too early.
Yes. That's what I thought.
As soon as you're post Thanksgiving, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But this coming out now, it's totally appropriate, no?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, either way, though,
you're one of those not until Christmas Eve. Not until Christmas, Mom. Not until Christmas Eve.
Not until. Don't
one of those
put
guys?
up the tree. You know what kind of Christmas guy I am.
Well, you're the baby Jesus.
Yes.
But you don't listen to Christmas music.
I mean, yeah, I do.
You do.
Yeah, I guess I do.
You start in December, right?
I don't know. I guess this year's a little humbug, you know. I had to really shit on Spirited, so.
Well, that's okay. But as far as Christmas goes, no, I guess you do. You listen to Frank Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not one of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, there's some people that only listen to Christmas music on Christmas, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, that's what Tom was referring to as baby Jesus. I am born on Christmas Day, so.
You, Jesus, and
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett, that's right. Okay, so this week you wanted to go not just Christmas films, action Christmas films.
Yes.
What movie sparked? Oh, Violent Night, of course.
Yeah, Violent Night, absolutely, and especially after watching Violent Night. Man, is Violent Night violent? It is seriously of a doozy movie. But yeah, wanted to kind of focus on this Christmas action meme that really was born from Die Hard, and and build out the episode from there. It was honestly a great watching week. I'm excited to talk about all these movies. Definitely not all of them are good. I'll say that right there. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable week, and it was fun seeing how Christmas was incorporated in all these.
Oh, in action specific movies.
Yeah. How much it was action versus Christmas.
Yeah.
Or the literal combination like Fatman and Violent Night.
So after watching this week, were you in the Christmas spirit more after coming out of the week?
No,
that doesn't make any difference.
Unfortunately, I was not. So maybe that's a disappointment to this list. But I don't think this brought my Christmas spirit up. But maybe that's just Christmas action movies.
Okay, so let's start right away. I love what you started with. We're in 1988, and it's Die Hard because This is one of those films that's so commonly debated. Is it a Christmas movie? And people saying like, oh, by the way, Die Hard's a secret Christmas movie.
Right.
It's not that secret anymore.
Yeah, yep.
Like it is kind of just common knowledge that it is kind of Christmas.
I believe. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so after watching it again, you agree.
Yeah.
So 1988, how's the first Die Hard?
Oh, phenomenal. Die Hard is a really, really a classic and deserved of a classic title. Folks, it was imperative we covered this because Die Hard really gave birth to the whole idea of the action Christmas movie. Shane Black returns to this concept as a writer with both The Long Kiss Goodnight, which we'll cover in just a second, and then even Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which he directed as a Christmas movie. But yeah, Die Hard really gave birth to it all of combining the two, and I think it is undeniable that it is a Christmas action movie. So even just a couple of years back, I feel like many people denied this was a Christmas movie, and though it may not have Santa Claus, it takes place on Christmas. It's got Christmas music. It's actually got a lot of Christmas music. I was surprised.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it's about coming together for the holidays, which is kind of all of these in some way.
It's funny. I think, like you said, especially in the first few years of the first decade of this, it's so just like, no, like that big debate whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I just think it was so impossible for people to think that action movies could be Christmas movies. But now, look at the movies we're covering. It's not all that odd anymore.
Yeah. The frequency is picking up
big time.
As they go through it. So, Bruce Willis plays John McClane, a wisecracking New York cop on his way to Los Angeles for his wife's holiday party on Christmas Eve. But Christmas gets canceled when international terrorist Hans Gruber, played by the late, great Alan Rickman, and I really do mean great, in this, seizes control over the building in a heist that spirals out of control. I gotta say, I mean, as far as action fundamentals, our director here, why am I missing McTiernan?
John McTiernan. First Predator.
Yeah, exactly. He does Predator, and then he comes right into this, and then what's after this? Hunt for Red October. I mean, McTiernan. Is on a tear with the 3 movie stretch. I mean, in any other scenario, would love to do a film study with just on McTiernan because he really is a dominant force in action movies, period.
Definitely. Although, did you look at his stuff after that?
Yeah, and that's why we didn't. It kind of dives off, But the setting, Nakatomi Plaza, might be one of the most iconic in all of film, and that's where I want to kind of focus some of my initial praise of this film. Primarily how much we know the building inside and out by the end. Like all good action films, and definitely for McTiernan, setup and payback, or setup and tie back, is important for scenes to feel impactful. It's important for scenes to feel engaging as far as the action goes. And we talked about this with McTiernan's prior work with Predator, monster clues slowly being built into the plot as they go through the jungle. 1 year later, he has absolutely perfected this use. Basically taking this setup throughout the film, we have the wide but singular kind of jungle setting, focused, but also kind of opened up as well by making it in this tall skyscraper that they can't get out of. It's definitely a little bit of a haunted house concept in writing because they can't leave it. They're trapped in the skyscraper of it. And it's also various pieces. It's one location, but we get environments with McClane in the vents, office spaces, of course, maintenance areas, the roof. It's much more varied, even though it still has this singular setting focus that we're kind of building and understanding there. And honestly, again, McTiernan just builds such momentum on his own concepts after finding out about the clues of one alien monster. It's opened up now in Die Hard to chipping away at a packed terrorist squad. What are their guns? What are the tools of the trade? What is their psychology? What is their motivation? And all of that is used to craft such amazing action that we feel engaged in as an audience, and we can track and problem solve with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, the cool thing is, like you said, him perfecting things going off of Predator, which you like so much. It's that thing of nothing is just dumped on you or given to you or spoon-fed.
Yeah.
The fact that you can be, like you said, you're engaged with it. You're engaged with the action and with the character figuring stuff out and figuring stuff out along with him. It's such a good recipe.
Yeah.
It's such a good recipe.
He just knows how to build it. He's such an expert at it.
And one note on just the setting of it. It is really funny to think of. You get more of a varied setting, even though you're stuck in a building in the
Right.
jungle. Because no matter where you're at in the jungle, you're in the jungle still.
Exactly.
So, I mean, kind of cool.
Yeah. It does feel like it opens up within itself where, there's different parts of the jungle. There's the camp, there's the riverside, there's obviously the mud scene with Arnold and Predator, but it's all the same visually.
Yeah.
You get different environments and different problem solving from an action perspective, different set pieces that play into how the action is crafted. And I mean, I can't just... coming into these old films, coming into something like Die Hard that has a huge amount of reverence, it's a challenge for me as a critic to talk about something unique, bring something new to the table. And with McTiernan, believe me, I'm bringing this up. Not many people may talk about Nakatomi Plaza as the setting for Die Hard in such an positive way, but I really do believe it was easy with this movie to spot what was a secret ingredient to its success, and it is all in that setting. It's in how the action is built in response to the setting then.
So cool. It's such a proper action director.
Absolutely.
Like such a proper
maybe
action director.
the proper action director.
It could be. I mean, you could say he laid the foundation for a lot of modern stuff for a couple decades.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering, how was the pacing of the film? Did you feel, because of what the content we're dealing with, does it still feel fast-paced even though it's 2 hours and 12 minutes for a Christmas action movie?
I think so, because you're so engaged with the actual stakes of how does John McClane get out of this building with these terrorists?
Right.
Eventually, as that turns into more of him being a problem solver or, a cleaner, if you will, how do we take apart such a monumental force of these international terrorists? And again, Alan Rickman is just a perfect villain here. So wonderful to have as a foil to Bruce Willis, because Bruce Willis is so casual and he's kind of annoying and he's talking to himself, he's wisecracking, he's narrating his own,
right.
He's in the vents and he's like, all right, come on, John, what do you get into, John? Very, very Bruce Willis stuff. But Alan Rickman is so cool under pressure, and so refined and so well spoken. It's a really great matchup there. I think that's honestly one area where this takes a step back and feeling more 80s, feeling a little bit more dated. Don't get me wrong, Predator was a seriously campy film, especially with Arnold and the like.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis narrating his own life out loud is just a bit annoying sometimes, I'm just going to have to be real with it. I like Bruce Willis to an extent, but...
Yep, we do, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just here, it's just like, I don't know. If someone really has not seen Die Hard at all, has not seen a Bruce Willis vehicle... coming into this, I don't know. I think it could annoy some, just how it even annoys me on the 20th rewatch of Die Hard. So, but there is no doubt John McClane is iconic as an action hero, right alongside of Arnold, of Stallone, and much like we spoke about with RoboCop, iconic doesn't always equal good. Iconic is absolutely the word that I would describe John McClane. It is a classic character, and it may seemed random at the time covering RoboCop when we did with.
We're doing the study.
Yes. Honestly, I'm glad we did, because I really do think it helped me even nail down what I meant by this is iconic.
Yeah.
I don't like it though.
Yeah,
I don't
not
think
that it
good.
was more. It's just kind of opened our eyes a little bit too. I think there's a lot more of those than we might think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, though, luckily Alan Rickman is honestly incredible in this. I think I can say very easily this is my favorite role, even over Professor Snape and the Harry Potter series and whatnot. The cat and mouse that he has with Willis is just a great example of why you should have your villain present at all points in your stories. The conversations over the CB radio allow them to confront each other over and over and over again, without having to fight, without having to actually have real conflict. It's basically like the trash talking that happens before a title match or whatnot. It's great.
So, did it remind you anything of that Clint Eastwood film that we did in the mid or early '90s, where it was him and then was it Gary Busey?
No, it was Malkovich.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
But I remember you saying they were just because they were on the phone constantly.
Yes.
But I don't know if you loved that part.
I didn't love it because it felt it felt like it really had to jump through hoops in being in DC and being in multiple cities that they were always talking. I felt like it took maybe away from the action.
So the fact that we're stuck in this building
Yes.
and we have this radio,
Yes.
basically. Okay.
Yeah, and also it's very interesting that the radio, the walkie-talkie of it, it's probably intimidating for a screenwriter to take on because the actual premise of it is that Hans Gruber and the terrorists are hearing everything that McClane is talking to the cops over and everything like that. And it's like, well, how do you make a story around the terrorists knowing everything and everyone knowing everything in and out? It works because it's used in almost a trash talky, rivalry way. Yeah. And for those that know, and the many that have seen this film, that this pays off in one of the greatest confrontation scenes, even before the end of the film, and it is just such magic between these two. And seriously, though, it is a bona fide classic, and surprising how much it pulls you in time after time. I've probably seen this over 20 times, like I said.
Wow, I didn't think that.
Yeah. I mean, it just never gets old. It never gets old. I know exactly what's coming. I know how exactly the action scenes look. But it is just as engaging. And again, I think it relates to very specific points. There's many things that this film does right, but I think McTiernan really has a magic to how he creates things. Honestly, that factor of rewatchability might just be the biggest reason why this is a great Christmas movie yet. We're going to go ahead and give Die Hard an 80 on the dot.
80 on the dot.
Yeah. Great movie.
That's a very good score.
Very good
really
movie.
Good score for a Christmas action film. I love it. That's awesome. And I think well deserving. I think you're right. I love that it holds up until today. I don't think we get a lot of these, and in a way, it's a gem. It really is.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's an 80s action film. You know what I mean? Which it's just a recipe for failure in all ways.
Yeah, could definitely be crash and burn. And I mean, realistically, what do we see with the remaining of the series? The other 4 Die Hard films.
Yes.
They're all pretty much trash. So this one was a good example of lightning in a bottle.
There is 5, isn't there?
I know. I was looking at this. I was like,
oh.
This would have been a perfect special. Damn it. I know. I always look for those 5 slots.
Well, who knows? Okay, cool. So we're going to keep it going here. We're now in 1996. This is called The Long Kiss Goodnight. Our another action. Is this straight Christmas? How does this blend Christmas and action, Vin? And what made you approach this one, too?
Probably out of the list this week, the most action with Christmas in the background is undeniably a Christmas action film, though.
So, even compared to Die Hard.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say Die Hard, I mean,
it's more Christmas
all
than
the
you
music is Christmas music. It's about them coming together for the holidays and reuniting as a family.
Is it more?
It's a Christmas movie.
Is it more Christmas than White Christmas?
Well, I think White Christmas is the ultimate. That is distilled Christmas.
Yeah, it is. But then you watch it and be like, Christmas doesn't play a very big part of this at all.
True.
Okay, so The Long Kiss Goodnight, 96. We have Sam Jackson in it, Gina Davis. What do we get here?
Yes. So the director of Die Hard 2, actually, Rennie Harlan, on a team up with Shane Black writing this script. Shane Black, definitely no stranger to using Christmas, in his films. Honestly, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from Shane Black would have been easily on this list, and maybe even replacing Long Kiss Goodnight, if we didn't cover it already on a random episode.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Want to bring some fresh perspective to it. Once again, on Christmas Eve, we follow a school teacher mother played by Gina Davis that is suffering from amnesia and living with only the past 8 years of her life. Slowly her memories start to come back to her, and with it, the skills of an assassin. It's a fun premise. She really turns from mom baking cookies on the holiday to throwing knives into people, and it really is. I mean, the action on this, I would say, stands out more stronger than any of the combinations of Christmas and action, especially when we get into Fatman and Violent Night, where it's just literally Santa Claus action. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So she pulls in Private Eye, played by Samuel Jackson, to get the bottom of her dangerous past, and that kind of places them on a journey to find out, what is the root of all these, assassin skills and where all this dangerous people from her past life are coming into play. I gotta say, Tom, I'm sorry. Cool premise, was that that hook a little bit?
Yeah, I think it hooked me a little bit. Sure.
Yeah. I hate Amnesia as a plot device. Is Amnesia even real?
Wow. Really?
It's such a tired TV movie trope to just have missing memories.
Okay,
I'm
trying to think of other Amnesia movies. I swear to God, there's some I like.
Yeah.
They're not really coming to mind too much.
I feel like Amnesia is an excuse, though, in screndwriting.
I got it.
Yeah.
The Bourne movies.
Oh, they do.
It's literally the whole entire premise is
Amnesia. That's true. I totally
Maybe that's one that slipped through the cracks, though.
Yeah.
So let's get into this a bit. Like, how was Gina Davis and Sam Jackson? How were they working with each other? How did they ping pong back and forth with one another?
Sure. So Sam Jackson definitely takes a side piece here, a side role.
Okay.
But he really is phenomenal.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Like one of the only good things?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Jackson was excellent in this. He really gets to just swear his ass off and comment on girls and yell and scream and it's great. He's really entertaining in this. Gina Davis, though, unfortunately, is just not the best. She's trying real hard to be badass, and it's just not working for me. I think it's just how she goes about trying to be cool.
Yeah. Is she trying to act like a cool dude?
It's very 90s. It's very... I think, if anything, her performance is shot in the foot because she's playing this mother, and it feels very natural to her. And then
she's John Wick.
Yeah. She dyes her hair blonde. She cuts it short. She puts on pink lipstick, and it's just like the approach to how you make this character cool is just so
sickening.
Yeah. It's just like. She then suddenly drinks and she, listens to cool music. She doesn't listen to Christmas music.
It's cringeworthy. It's cringe. Yeah, it's just
bingo,
cringy. Yeah,
bingo.
She makes a good mother, but not a good killer.
I really do think this film has a lot of tonal whiplash as well, especially in taking innocent moments in the beginning and making them into this intense and no joke, sometimes even scary moments.
Really?
There's like some jump scares in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, what is this?
Okay, all right.
Honestly, my bird's eye on this film, it is a wonderful example of the quirks in Shane Black's writing. How characters talk, the very specific dark comedy that pops up from time to time, and 100% how action is written. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it falls flat in the worst, most corny way possible. And this is a perfect example of just how, even within the film, even one screenplay from Shane Black himself, how it can fluctuate, how it can go back and forth within one movie as well.
And the funny thing is when you look back at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you were not a fan of the writing.
No.
And you thought it went it was just it pushed rated R too much.
Yes.
For what the movie should have been. That was one of your big contentions with the film. And the funny thing is, we like Shane Black.
Yeah.
It's like we like him, but like he only gets to a certain point.
Yeah. I think his films are always a balancing act to how much those moments work and how much the corny, cheesy moments don't work.
Yeah.
And almost every one of his films, whether he's just writing or definitely in his writing directing, is just a balance of if it tips the scales in that way. Right. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang doesn't largely work. Something like Nice Guys, I would say, probably has a good 80% of really works, and there's only about 20% there.
The funny thing is, we love. There's so much dialogue in The Nice Guys, and we both love it.
Yep.
I would say I like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang a little bit more than you.
Really?
Yeah, I think I like the writing better in the dialogue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you go back and watch it, or?
No, I'm just very familiar with it because I've probably seen it about 3 times.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Overall, it is really funny with Shane Black, isn't it? I forgot about The Nice Guys and just how much I like that writing.
I know. And maybe that's just, you got to take a stab at it. As a writer, it's just about trying new things, each new script. And
it sounds like he's getting better.
Yeah.
Right? Predator, because he did Predator?
Yes. Wrote Predator, I believe.
So wrote Predator, wrote this, and then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and then Nice Guys. With in between.
Yeah,
I understand there's things in between, but
there's things in
from
between.
what we covered.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just one of those things that I think this is unfortunately why I'm bringing this up and why this kind of this the balancing scales of his writing and when it works and when it doesn't. I think unfortunately this one is tipping in the doesn't category.
And not to mention, I mean, I guess we should know the director too. He's not known for too much, except he did do Cliffhanger.
Yep.
Or produce. Did he direct it?
I think he did direct it.
Okay, all right. And some has to go on his shoulders also.
Absolutely. And I think that's where I maybe step back away from even the praise of some of the action in this film. This is really a seriously action-packed film. So much so that, like I said in the beginning, it's kind of stepping away from Christmas more so than any other, entry on this episode. And as far as how the action is written, it feels very Shane Black in how, there's an early scene when the ghosts of her past, so to speak, are finally coming back. There's like a home invasion type of thing. And you could just see like how like Shane Black wrote how this action was going to play out. But execution in a good way, that's on the director here. Yeah. But, I will say this movie... it really does evolve quite a bit in 2 hours to the point that I was really surprised. Just how I was kind of surprised of some weird horror elements in it as well. But it's just kind of a mess, honestly.
Okay, all right.
It's not it's very 90s, extremely 90s. There are aspects that I liked about this film. I think, if anything, Sam Jackson really saves it in a supporting role.
He made it. Yeah, he made the pill go down a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
And really good. I think he was very enjoyable in this. But I think it was just hurt so much by underwhelming performances and again, like you said, Tom, cringy writing. That really is the word.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That 90s-ness plays into it. And as well, there was maybe a little bit of a vendetta I had for the film because of how unprioritized Christmas was for it. It's not about coming together for the holidays. There's barely any Christmas music,
But it still counts as Christmas?
It does.
Like it's still on the list?
Oh, yeah, because it takes place all on Christmas Eve or like leading up to Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Where's it located? Are we in New York? Are we in...
It's a small town.
Okay, so not that important then.
Yeah,
okay.
no, yeah, it's a small town. And that's part of, the shock of her having amnesia and then all of a sudden being an assassin.
Of course, yes.
So. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and give The Long Kiss Goodnight a 48.
Ooh, 48.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Not great.
So you can skip past this. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a good 5 Christmas movies to watch, this is not going to be one of them.
No.
So stay away from this. Yeah. I wasn't too familiar with it, and I guess there's a reason why also.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the 2000s here. This is 2000. This is directed by John Frankenheimer. This is called Reindeer Games. And again, there was an honorable mention, which I thought was going to be on here, which was Jingle All the Way. Very Christmas, but you were thinking not enough action.
Yeah, it's just
because
more
only
of
the end is action.
Exactly.
And even at that.
And there's no blood, there's no guns, you know what I mean?
It's a soft action. It's a PG action.
Exactly. I mean, Arnold does a lot to bring that, but yeah, I had to go with the actual true action. And if anything, that's the template of Die Hard,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so here we have Ben Affleck, Gary Sinise, Charlize Theron in Reindeer Games. Kind of what do we get here?
A doozy of a movie. Oh my God.
Okay.
I don't know. I almost don't even know where to begin, Tom, with this one. This one is wild.
So we're going downhill.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We are sledding down. There's a Yeti behind us. We are going fast. The director here, John Frankenheimer, really a storied career. I mean, he did the original Manchurian Candidate from '62. He did Ronin with Robert De Niro from 1998.
Which is okay. That has moderate success and praise.
Yeah. I think I may want to revisit it. I think it actually has a fairly low score on our data for Ronin, because I remember watching that not too long ago. But 2 years after, and honestly just 2 years before his death, death, he released one of his worst reviewed movies, and my apologies, folks. I really am good with staying away from reviews and tainting my perspective on this, but this one was almost unavoidable. Tom, what are the reviews on this? What are some of the numbers?
They're
here?
not good. They're not good.
Yeah.
We're very much dealing with the 20s and the 30s and the 40s of percents.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume that's where you're kind of sitting as well.
Well, it's more of a, unfortunately, when the reviews are in mind, I really try my best, just how I'm trying my best to always stay away from it and stay untainted. It's more so just kind of putting in the back of my head, but we play the game, are they wrong or are they right with this one? And unfortunately, they're pretty right with this one. Reindeer Games is about Ben Affleck finding out about his friend's girl in prison. When he gets out of the joint, he steals his friend's identity to get laid quick with Charlize Theron. With this, his friend's life comes with his criminal connections along with it, and forces Affleck to get involved with a casino heist on none other than Christmas Day.
Again, I don't hate the premise. There's parts that can really that could hook me.
Absolutely, and really a dynamite cast. This has a very big cast: Ben Affleck, Charlize Theron, Gary Sinise, Isaac Hayes. A very early Ashton Kutcher.
Really?
Believe it or not, yeah, he's just a bit role. He's just like washing his hands in a bathroom.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Even Charlize Theron. I mean, I think her first acting gig in the movie was That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that was 2 or 3 years or two.
Yeah, but late 90s.
2 or 4 years late 90s. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So she's not very well known still.
Yeah. Undeniably a Christmas movie. It takes place during the holidays. It's about Ben stealing his dead friend's girl to have a Merry Christmas. What puts you more in the spirit of the holidays? But the plot is laughably bad, Tom. It is constantly flip-flopping between Affleck pretending to be his dead friend and giving up the truth just straight up that he's not his best friend, and somehow, some way, still people are confused and characters are fooled by Affleck's Reindeer Games. It is a joke. I mean, I was in disbelief watching this, honestly. It was like, how the hell is Ben Affleck fooling anyone? Okay. He just told him he wasn't the dead friend, and then the next scene is just like, so how do we get into this casino? Where's security going to be posted out? He doesn't know. He's not the friend. It's so bad. Aaron Kruger is the writer on this one. Looking at what he's done, it honestly just made me more confused because the logic of this script is atrocious. It is easily the worst quality about the film. It is just so bad. I really.
Yeah, should we go through he wrote The Ring and Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick.
That's what I was saying. Because I saw The Ring, I was like, what's going on here?
Okay, all right.
And then Maverick, I was like, all right. All right, sad cruise.
Boy, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, a highlight of the film. It's a very big cast and kind of a nostalgic cast as well for this 2000s time period. I'm sorry, but Ben Affleck is not bringing it at all, much like Gina Davis in the last one. Some very rough acting here, especially in the many tense scenes. He has a real bad habit of just moving his face so much. He's just always cracking like a real douchey smile, or he's always raising his eyebrows. It's like, Ben, I understand acting is reacting. You don't need to react to everything. It's rough.
It's so funny. And Lieutenant Dan himself, how'd he do? Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise is okay. I think he is cool as a villain, as an antagonist here. He brings a lot of cool villain energy to it, but he's just so dumb in this. He plays the loose end to the friend's life, and unfortunately he's intimidating, but he's also not intimidating at all because his character and his crew are basically the butt of the joke, if you will, or the butt of Ben Affleck's horrible fooling of if he's the dead friend or not. And folks, this flip-flops probably 15 times. And it's like, how would anyone be fooled by this? It's asinine. It really is asinine, moronic. I was again in disbelief. It was real quick back to Ben Affleck's acting. In some of this, he reveals he's not. He tricks him once again.
Right.
It's terrible. He yells out at this one thing. He goes, "I want some goddamn hot chocolate." And they go to a diner. Practically a hostage scenario. They take this man to a diner so he can get some hot chocolate. It's so. I mean, it's borderline Nick Cage acting, honestly. For
bad
Ben
Nick
Affleck.
Cage. Bad Nick Cage. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The over distilled Cage.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised dealing with an Affleck.
Yeah,
he can be good. He can be bad.
But man. Like I said, borderline asinine. Honestly, this whole plot, how it moves forward, how if you actually had to lay out the plot points of what characters are doing, moronic, the most how
just
could
messy,
you ever?
Okay. It is an hour and 44.
Yeah.
Still
True. It was breezy.
Okay, all right, breezy.
There we go. He's trying to bring me back, folks. He's trying to bring back the holiday spirit a little bit. Like I said, I think where it kind of even ruins some enjoyment of just cool action side of this.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Because Gary Sinise does bring some cool energy to it, especially with his crew. It's just sadly they are the ones being fooled. So the idiocy of Affleck and the plot and the script now bleeds so much into other characters.
Right, it brings down the competent characters now to not being so competent anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was really contagious, and how much this was idiotic. So it really goes from potentially badass, or rather his crew potentially badass, to, like I said, the butt of the joke. The icing on top is the script thinks it is so clever. It thinks it's the smartest thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This Kruger probably walked away from this and he said, no one's gonna see this coming. He was probably
man, that's just the worst for
shit
people.
With this one, he was so happy, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. I'll admit that the story tries to swing for every possible twist. I mean, it is, it is swinging for the fences. It's just time after time again, and how much they can fit into one movie, no less than under 2-hour movie. But I don't think any of it is good. There is a line Charlize says that basically tries to hint at some sort of Fargo small town crook theming, and it's like, no. Yeah, this story has not built on that. It has been built on the weakest foundation possible and the most moronic characters I've ever seen. I sincerely wish this could have been on a Spig rating, so bad it's good.
Oh, yes.
I really do think Reindeer Games has potential of being a so bad it's good candidate, honestly. Just
but the problem is it's bad, though.
It is. And that's where I'm coming in with it. It's just flat out
bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I think it. If that is being illustrated by a circle that it kind of has to come in on itself,
right,
to be good again, makes the full loop. It's just right there, but it falls back in on the tracks and goes careening back into itself. So. Not making that full circle is not good, and unfortunately, Reindeer Games is not good. I hate to say, such a low one on an episode and on a week. I was really excited. I mean, I chose these films, so I knew what I was in for. We're gonna go ahead and give Reindeer Games a 19.
Wow. Wow, okay.
It was atrocious.
I love it. 19.
Big
fan. I'm a big fan of these scores today.
He's filling out the lows.
Wow, at 19%. Yeah, so, folks, stay away. It's not even so bad it's good.
I know. I really wish I could say it was.
Some redeeming, it's so bad that something redeeming about it.
Maybe if you hate the actors and the actresses, maybe this would be a so bad it's good, so that you could just kind of shit on it.
I have a feeling that how was Charlize's acting, because I feel like her early career is actually not that good.
Or
talent, I should say.
Remind me a little bit of am I remembering correctly? She was in Devil's Advocate.
This I don't know.
Okay. I'd never want that. I would say you are hitting on the same area, though, that it's very early on.
Yeah.
And she hasn't just stepped into her own attitude.
Yeah,
you know? I think
definitely.
the peak, obviously, is Mad Max, where it's like she barely talks at all, but she sells her
What
star
her peak
power.
is? That's interesting. Maybe it is Mad Max.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because she's in so much.
Yeah, she really is.
But, okay, so 19 Reindeer Games. Wow.
Yeah.
People stay away.
I knew you were gonna like it.
Well, it's not often we get in the teens around here.
It's true. And I was all over the sub 50s. It was like it kept on going lower as the film went on.
Getting more and more angry.
Yeah.
I believe that is the lowest rated among some of the critics that we often look at.
Oh yeah,
or critic sites, we should say.
Yeah, I think so.
19,
and that's where it was the game of are they right, are they wrong? And believe me, I've said it many times. I like going against the grain. I like being contrarian.
This is why I don't hate when you're like, if you go. I mean, I love that you do it where you're trying to stay away from everything, fresh eyes, fresh, okay, whatever the picture is, give it to me. But I'm never worried about you looking or hearing other people's critics.
You're getting tainted with it.
Yeah, because you've been doing a good job of calling it how it is, and I think you're just getting better at that anyway.
Right.
It's just getting more natural.
Right.
Because how often have we gone back to these well-scored films?
Sure.
And it's trash.
Hey, exactly.
Cane Mutiny.
Yeah.
among many.
That was also the game. Is it below Cane Mutiny? And it definitely was. So.
Okay, so let's jump 20 years in advance. So this is 2020, a pretty recent film.
Yep.
This film is called Fatman. And I feel like a lot of people might be kind of this. There was a decent amount of ads.
Oh yeah,
when this came out, and I feel like it was talked about a little bit when it did come out. Again, it's action Christmas movie, as you alluded to earlier. This is like Santa action. Like Santa is now being involved in this.
Yep.
We have Walton Goggins as bad guy, and we have Mel Gibson playing Kris Kringle.
Yep.
So what do we get with Fatman? This is our shortest yet. It's an hour and 40. All these are rated R.
Yep.
Or R rated R.
Yep.
And what do we get with this Christmas? Undeniably Christmas for sure.
Yeah, and maybe you hone in on Christmas action does need to be rated R. It does need to have blood and guns.
It seems to be that's the deal.
Yeah. Fatman. Yeah, I mean, I think this film was ripe for flying under everyone's radar. Hollywood's most hated Mel Gibson.
Yep.
Which I think both of us don't really mind too much. Not in the sense that like we watched Drag Across Concrete and some things he's been in.
No, I'm pretty pro. It's okay. Mel Gibson is back. He took it. You know what I mean? He
took his lumps.
Right. He was exiled for 6 to 8 years or something like that. Did his dues. The more research I do, more about it, like his more private stuff that like people don't actually touch on, the more I actually like him.
Yep.
Now you go back and listen to the clips, and it's tough. It's tough. It's one of those things where just like, okay, very dude's got some issues. It definitely had some
the
issues.
Drunk calls. Oh yeah.
But it's he is so good at acting. And now hearing again, I have heard a decent amount of actual private stories that stuff he keeps more quiet. That actually is very good on his character.
Oh, okay.
And it makes me feel, you know what I mean? It's
Sure.
like, oh, okay, so there's gray area here.
Yeah.
And he's a very gray, morally character guy. And that's hey. But yeah,
a good fit for this depiction of Kris Kringle as well.
Yes,
yeah.
But in 2020, he's been doing a decent amount of films since he's kind of come back a little bit.
Yep,
a very interesting Kris Kringle. Yeah.
I think as well the Nelms brothers, very obscure directing writing career, and Saban Films as well, a production company that shovels out countless projects that should never see the light of day. So, I mean, I just think this film did not get a fair shake, and definitely, obviously coming out in 2020 just was primed to fly under everyone's radar. I am here to say, though...
Yeah, like peak COVID lockdown stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here to say, though, Fatman, a good movie. It is a good movie.
Okay.
And on the back of your boy, it is all on Walter Goggins.
This appreciate you saying that.
This may be his definitive role, as crazy as that is to say. He's working with Tarantino and everything. This is Walter
So
Goggins.
I really liked him in Hateful Eight. I think that so far is my favorite with him in it. I really did like him in this.
Yep.
I watched it, obviously. I'm just talking about it.
Yeah.
It's funny because I found and here's another thing about Mel Gibson, just to cap off also our conversation.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
The reason also, he is such a good actor.
Yeah,
he is such a freaking good actor.
Yeah.
Like when he brought emotion to this character,
Yeah.
where he's talking to the elves at one point, and it's like, this guy's great.
Yeah,
He's such a good actor.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, Walter Goggins, bad guy, plays a pretty good bad guy.
Amazing. I thought he was amazing. Is exactly what I wanted from it.
Okay.
Especially for how much this is a dark comedy, for tone of the film, how violence and how action is built into this concept.
So now that I've taken the wheel from you on this, just so you know where I'm coming from with this, and then it's because I think it'd be easier to build on top of that then, at least for me talking about is right off the bat, this film it didn't disappoint me.
Okay.
And I'm maybe not coming across as about it as you. I really, really loved the acting. I almost like everybody's role, everything about it.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire watching of it was a few things. One, I wish they had a little bit more money. I feel like it could be done better.
Sure.
That's one. Two, I wish they had a better and more involved stunt coordinator where the action could have actually been a little bit better.
Yes.
And three, it was a little boring. And it was a lot of dialogue and talking where that dark comedy, I wish there was a little bit more comedy
to the dark side of it.
And sadness. So, there's some sadness in there. So I wish there was a little bit things that were a little bit more ridiculous and able to laugh at. That being said, I did like it.
Yeah.
I'm coming across as just like you said. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I agree, but I can't help but that's gnawing at me.
Sure.
Because I feel like it was inches away or very close to being something way more special.
And that's where I feel like it really is on Goggins' shoulders, because it's the story is split up into thirds, and folks at home, this will be get you up to speed a little bit on it. You know,
sorry.
No, but I mean,
I'm not used to this.
That's a good mark of a surprising movie. We're excited to talk about it. It's an R-rated dark comedy, but really aims to be quite a cute, heartwarming Christmas story. I will say my early notes said, I'm a bit in conflict of who this is for, as far as an audience. But
interesting. Really?
After seeing Violent Night, I kind of was like, all right, well, clearly this is, an emerging subgenre of direct Santa action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if Santa is going to be involved in it,
I would say
children's dreams and hopes are going to be involved.
I would say anyone over the age of 15 or 16.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. The story is kind of broken up into thirds. Christmas and action are combined literally. Mel Gibson is a grizzled, cynical Kris Kringle that drinks and grumbles about the youth. I actually really love the little subtle ways he lives up to being Santa and how that plays into the eventual action that the film has brewing. He knows everyone's name. He knows their hopes and dreams, and it's just, I don't know. He was a cool action character for that reason.
Right.
He had intel on everyone.
Even the way he was kind of run down and, like you said, just like grumpy, he has the flask that Mrs. Claus has to take away.
Yeah.
He's like that because Christmas cheer is kind of gone, and he's upset with his own self. Because he's feel like, Santa's losing steam, and obviously he puts that on his own shoulders, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's not like Batman where the city is running him down. It's more so like he's putting it on himself.
The world is running him down.
Right.
I would say the second third is a young rich kid with a literal Napoleon complex. He has a picture of Napoleon behind him, and it all kicks off when he hires a hitman to go after the Fatman. That hitman is again, man, Walter Goggins. It is 100% the greatest part of the movie. He is so good. He plays this psychotic hitman obsessed with children's past presents and past dreams, and it's just so awesome. I can't stress enough how much this film was on his back. His segments are easily the funniest. Like the Santa plot, it's okay, it's kind of funny, but the Hitman segments are 10 times better. I think it was all about him. Yeah.
So I would have to say I really liked Goggins, but honestly, because there's little flashes of his character where it's like, why didn't they hit on that more? You have gold in this scene. Why was that not led into more? And again, I feel like there was a drop ball with him a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me, I really liked him and And I felt like Mel Gibson's acting was so good, and I liked almost him portraying this. And even with Gibson going along with Mrs. Claus and everything like that, I actually really, really liked it. I just found it a bit boring. And definitely most of the last came with Goggins, like you said.
Yeah.
But I felt like Gibson's acting was so good that for me, they were a little bit more equal in watching because I couldn't help but feel that Goggins, whether it be writing or directing, kind of dropped the ball a little bit.
Sure.
Because he was a great character.
He was so good.
And
he
some
has
very funny
these
parts,
American Psycho, Leon the Professional vibes, that is just such a psychotic hitman. And it's just so enjoyable to watch in this movie. And I gotta say, I mean, watching this movie, I was impressed with how cute and heartwarming it is. I mean, it's 100% a dark comedy. It's 100% a rated R film. But there are some really... It is a good Christmas film and hit on the note of that it has to have certain aspects. For instance, just how the comedy is built with the kid and that he takes it so seriously and he's hiring a hitman, but all of it is motivated because he got coal. You know what I mean? It's still Christmassy.
It's playing with those it's playing with those...
The legend of
the legends, exactly. Where it's the cutesiness it's always still present.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very cute movie, and that's odd to say. I also think I was, in reflecting on the entire week and really refining some of the reviews, this film was kind of, amazing that it was able to pull that off with still being rated R. We'll look at, we'll obviously be talking about Violent Night in just a bit, and Violent Night, it kind of falls on its face in trying to make these cutesy moments with how the action is presented in that film. This film did not have that problem. Maybe it was a result of it being a little slower.
Did you agree with my
yes.
comments on that?
Yeah. And I think that's just ultimately the Santa Claus plot is just a little bit less engaging.
Yeah.
I was more about Goggins and how great he was on screen.
I just wish more was there. And even with I felt like there could have been a little bit more comedy with Santa. And I keep on saying Mrs. Claus because what her name is.
Yeah, I thought she was great too.
Marianne Jean Baptiste.
I think so. I don't know her as an actress.
I think that's how
she was really great though.
I loved
notable.
I thought she made a great Mrs. Claus.
Yeah,
a great Mrs. Claus.
And in this universe, that she was definitely tough enough, and she knew the ins and outs of the operation of Santa.
Yes, and just and to your point, where it's the cutesiness of Christmas still plays it she's still baking cookies.
Yep.
And everything like that.
I love how all the elves, all the elves eat only sweets.
Right, totally. The tropes are there.
So great.
But even where the elves work, it's darker. It's a little bit more industrial, kind of dirty than what you might think.
Absolutely.
It all really works. It does. It really works.
Yeah. I think the only area where it would maybe be more 50-50 is, like you said, with budget. I definitely agree this, and look at the directors. They're kind of, I don't know what the finances were behind this. But I think it does work because we don't really see the Santa magic. I liked the subtle ways that the Santa magic.
No issue with that.
Yeah.
When I say money, I think the military guys could have been a little bit more official.
Yeah.
And again, I just think if you would have had a better stunt team, a better fight team,
the action
and
itself,
the choreography, I think it would have really benefited the directors because there could have been a little bit more and it could have been more engaging. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I do think it came down as pretty generic, where. Again, not to bring it up a second time, but more of a John Wick, something where you're just oh my gosh, where you're watching and you're kind of lighting up and engaged.
Yep.
It just was not that.
Yeah, the action was not as electric. More Christmas than action.
Right, and I feel like it was leaning a little bit more on the ridiculousness of, we're having Santa. The whole premise is ridiculous enough and should be grabbing enough. I just wish, like I said, just drop the ball a little bit.
Sure. And it's what you're going to get, honestly, with the type of projects that are probably presented to him.
And with this budget, probably, for sure, yeah.
So, my note for the comedy, just to kind of give folks at home some an understanding of this, it's kind of like an R-rated version of the comedy you'd find in The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Jokes are often focused on how Santa works in the real world, how the adult world would interact with Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And that definitely goes back to the factory of the elves. There are the lunch break is all pies and cookies and whatnot. So there's a good matching there. It is definitely a dark comedy though. So Definitely expect a gory shoot 'em up. Not the goriest on the list. That definitely goes to Violent Night.
You got to see some blood. Good blood-stained snow.
And again, on Goggins. Goggins as his hitman is just great.
And it's cool to follow.
Such chaotic energy.
And we did follow the hitman a bit.
Yes.
With the one, I mean, just that one scene that's so funny, in my opinion, that I wish someone was leaned into more of that silliness, was just that scene was where he's prepping a little bit. And he's at the Asian restaurant and everything like that.
He goes to the Asian restaurant on Christmas. Nothing else is open. I loved it. I also love the edits here. When he's driving up at some point. The editing was like Edgar Wright good. It was like visual comedy. It was good editing. It was good like editing comedy on it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it was
I'm
tight.
so glad you like this.
Yes.
This is on the list because of me. As soon as you said action, I was like, he got to put Fatman on.
He did. But I mean, honestly, this week has had some rough picks, and Fatman luckily was not one of them because I really didn't just want to have a bad streak all the way through. So just very, very enjoyable. I would say a fun Christmas boys watch. I would say a good watch for the combination of Christmas and action. And definitely probably the top entry until more movies try this idea and more scripts are green light around literal Christmas Santa Claus action. I think Fatman definitely gets the crown with it. We're going to go ahead and give Fatman a 75.
Wow. Oh, yes. Yeah. 75%. Great score.
Great score. Very enjoyable movie.
Could not be any more happy with that. I'm shocked that you gave it this. I'm really, really pleased with it.
Let's see where the Tommy Two Shoes is. Okay, so I'm very curious because I feel like you were overall more critical to the action and whatnot.
Yeah, again, it almost felt long for an hour and 40. And I just think, and I'm happy with it being an hour 40. It's like, what do you cut? It's like, don't cut anything. Just make some of the scenes maybe a little bit better.
Pacing. This is
pacing. But I don't need a shortened runtime.
Sure.
I want to see more of these characters, but give them a little bit more to work with. I really struggled between two shoes or two shoes. No. Well, I struggled with one shoe or two shoes.
Okay.
So, and I actually got caught up. I kind of got confused with what the rating was again. I think it goes I'm going to need your help on this one.
Well, you see, it's one shoe or two shoe.
It's one shoe.
And then laces or no laces?
No. It's one shoe tied.
Oh, really?
I'm asking.
No. I think it's shoes first, then ties.
So it's not, okay, so listen to this. 0 shoes, right? One shoe laces untied.
Okay.
One shoe laces tied.
Sure.
Then you have 2 shoes.
Okay.
Then you have 2 shoes, one lace tied, one not.
Okay.
And then you go for the granddaddy, 2 shoes all laced up. So that's where it's saying, is there a one shoe with the laces? That's what I was struggling with.
I don't know. I mean,
I think so, because I think one shoe.
I think that maybe illustrates a little bit of
one shoe with the lace is about 50.
Sure.
Because then
and it shows that it can be really good sometimes, but it also doesn't have a shoe.
Well, think about it.
I love this real deep dive into the Tommy Two Shoes.
If the best of, like, if your 90+%, your must watches, if that's 2 shoes tied, half of that, which would be 50%, is one shoe tied.
Sure. I love it.
Maybe that's a covenant 50% that I barely touch.
I like this workshopping that we're doing.
I'm struggling. Okay,
to figure it
that's
out.
what I was like. Oh shit!
Listen, it's your call.
But did you think that it went 0 shoes, 1 shoe, 2 shoes,
then laces?
Then we talk laces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking laces.
Okay, so this film gets 2 shoes.
Okay.
This film gets 2 shoes.
Yep. No laces.
That's it. Yeah, sorry. That's not that. I mean, it's pretty anticlimactic now that we just spent all that time talking about it, but it gets 2 shoes.
It's good.
It gets 2. Yeah.
This is the episode that cemented that.
Yeah.
He's really pondering over here.
Well, I gave Private Parts 2 shoes, one of them tied, which is big.
So I think very simple. Did you like this more or less than Private Parts? I think that's just fundamental way you can.
The funny thing is, I think it has potential to be better, but the drop ball brings it down a notch. And I put this more with, like I brought up last week, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, okay.
Which got 2 shoes.
Sure. And just as funny in some spots, but also
I will say I almost
had some problems.
Yes. And I actually think I liked Unbearable Weight a little bit more.
Okay.
But because we only have so many shoes to work with, it goes in that umbrella.
Maybe we'll get into how laced
I'm
it is.
struggling with this one.
Double knot, perhaps. I was expecting like a winter boot.
Shit. You're right.
That really got you.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Vin.
What do they call those ice walking boots?
Snowshoes.
Snowshoes, okay.
Or like an ice skate.
Yeah.
I could have got an ice, I think a proper two shoes.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's somewhere around, I don't know, a 65 for you or something like that.
Because I think
you're so right with the laces.
Because you got to worry about the shoes
One
first.
shoe, two shoes, then we deal with laces.
Bingo.
So I cut out the one shoe, one lace.
Because who's lacing up one shoe, you know?
Well, the whole point is you're half there. You're 50%. Maybe if I ever had to give something a 50%, I can't make up my mind.
Yeah.
Good side or bad side.
Sure.
We'll throw that.
Yeah.
We'll give that.
I like that. He's exhausted.
So this guy...
He's exhausted, folks. That was a heavy...
I could have played with the Christmas theme so much.
Oh, man.
I could have gave it, 6 reindeer, not 8, or something like that. Oh, man. Anyway, here's the thing. I really like the acting in this. All characters. Yeah. I like the kid. I like Goggins. I liked Baptiste. And I like I said, Mel Gibson really played it well.
Yeah.
There's this scene where Mel Gibson has to rush out of bed with no shirt on and get a gun, kind of. Yeah. And it is hilarious because it's like... It's Kris Kringle.
right. And where is he hiding his gun?
Right.
You know? I just think, more so than anything, folks, give this a watch. I think you're going to be surprised on how heartwarming it is with the action, with the violence.
So true, Ben. Yeah, so true.
I think especially with that kid and the cutesiness of even in Goggins, he's collecting past gifts and whatnot as a.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm in. I'm buying stock in this movie. I'm in.
So I think it really surprised me in a good way, and I think that's why I get such a very positive score.
Well, and I appreciate your 75 so much because it cuts through the BS. Because I think if you go online, you wouldn't know what to think, and I think a lot of people have stayed away from this movie, even if they heard of it, because it's not the most well-known thing.
Right, exactly.
But you're dealing. Look at Rotten Tomatoes. I'll go on here, and critic score 44, audience score 84. What do you do with that?
Sure,
I think 84 is way too high.
Yeah.
I think 44 is way too low.
Right. Exactly.
So I think the 75 is a great score.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for something different this Christmas, turn it on.
I think so. Yeah.
You're
sick of Die Hard?
It's an hour 40 too.
Absolutely.
I like how last week, no Tommy Two Shoes on Schindler's List, but I gave it to Private Parts, and with this Die Hard, I'm silent.
Right. You go for the deep cuts.
Okay, folks. Hey, just giving everybody a reminder here, going off the value for value model. Are you finding the podcast and the website valuable? If you could, you go to thedailyratings.com, you head to the donations tab, and through monetary support, you show us what value you're getting. You write in a note as well, and we're going to read it here. So completely producer supported, and that's what you are when you donate. You're a real life, actual credited producer. We thank you all so much. And most importantly, right now, go ahead and tell somebody about it. Spread the word a little bit. We want to have a nice 2023, we have some fun stuff planned, and we want as many people along for the ride as possible. So we thank you all so much for that. Now, moving on, Vin, this is our now in theaters. We alluded to it before. This is Violent Night. And from what you said, this is as violent as we get here this week.
Oh, boy, do we.
This is with David Harbour being the lead, John
Leguizamo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is in it, who we typically like also. But kind of set up this bloody Christmas tale here. And how did you like it?
Yeah, we have really come full circle with the Christmas action movie about Santa Claus. And unlike Fatman, this is now incorporating the magical side to the Man in Red, probably for budget reasons, as you've mentioned. But also, it's now full effect Santa Claus. He touches his nose, he goes up the chimney. We see the reindeer a lot. He has a bag that is a dimensional portal to presents, So,
okay, yeah.
It really is, full effect Santa Claus. Like you said, stars David Harbour, similar kind of drunk, grumpy Santa. He
Grizzled,
also, yeah, he has Viking tattoos, which I thought was kind of cool. When he's out delivering presents on Christmas Eve, he gets caught up in a home evasion heist, led by John Leguizamo and the family of the home being impacted and kind of having a B plot within the action. Gotta say, this movie, the gore was straight up gross out. It was
that bad?
It was like
Could you
watching
compare?
Mortal Kombat fatalities.
Really?
It was gory. So much so that I was kind of side-eyeing some parents that
is that
brought
right?
some very young children to the theater.
How packed was it? Like, what does this theater look like?
Not very packed.
Because
I also saw it in a weird, like afternoon hour.
Okay. I should say, I mean, it's only in theaters.
Yep,
It's not online, which you would almost think this movie was a direct-to-release or something like that, or digital, I mean. But interesting. It's interesting who would go to the theater for this.
Yeah. And granted, it's called Violent Night. Man.
Was it too much, or did you start to enjoy it?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm not I'm not
quite good with gore, actually. Yeah.
I was about the action. I was about the gore. There is a one-upsmanship that the film does, and not to compare to a video game, but like Mortal Kombat fatalities really does hit the nail on the head on how gory and trying to put it in your face and like, oh, watch how this guy's gonna get killed. That really is the whole MO of the film, is making the most gory kills possible within this Santa action movie. That may be a serious green light for some people. I felt as the movie went on, it was getting more and more gross.
More and more ramped up, just to be more and more ramped up.
Exactly.
It's almost like Game of Thrones deaths. It's like, how can we bloodily kill this guy?
Yeah. And maybe even more so because you get Santa magic being used in this way. So, it is a doozy.
It's good that you mention it like
exactly.
that. Exactly. If you're saying something about it, it must be really,
I think for it's rated R. It's people know what they're signing up for. I think honestly, I wanted to make a point of it early on because it got to a point that it was a little bit too much for me. It was kind of even getting old as well. Almost I was desensitized to it, if you will.
It's just oversaturated.
Exactly. Yeah. And on top of that as well, that could be a green light for people to want to watch this as well. Even though I found it maybe a little bit tasteless eventually. If that is what you understand the film to be, and you're not going to be kind of shell shocked for it, you want to anticipate that, guess what, that's you got a great movie to watch in the theaters for for the holidays.
Well, how was everything else besides the violence?
It honestly, it's very derivative of Fatman in trying to combine cutesy dark comedy.
Okay.
The film also plays a very, very wide game of calling to other Christmas movies, Die Hard, Home Alone, and then paying homage to them in some way about having kind of sequences that, not rip-offs, but like homages to, nods to those films in some way. The heist element is very reminiscent to the first 30 minutes of Die Hard. There is a direct Home Alone call-out and then use of Home Alone style defense of the house then. So very cute for that reason. I think I was positive on those, and more and more we're seeing new films. They live in this mixed meta space. They live in this self-referential calling to other movies. You know what I mean?
Was it enjoyable?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of, it's like being with an old friend, kind of like those kind of callbacks or Easter eggs.
A perfect example: the one little girl here, she just watches Home Alone the night before when we're introduced to her. So then when the home invasion is happening, she is participating in setting up glue and nails and bowling balls. So I thought that was a good thing. The film definitely understood the mix of Christmas action it was trying to be.
Right.
If anything. So I thought that was a good thing. Like I said, though, helping old Saint Nick is a little girl, and again, rated R, hyper-violent vibe to this. Hyper-violent is really the description I want to give to the whole movie. It is extremely gory. Honestly, a bit too much, but that again, like I said just a moment ago, that is the point. A lot of gross out humor. We have vomit jokes, we have shit jokes, and like I said, shocking amounts of gore. The movie is trying to be as rated R as possible, and hey, that's fine. I'm not expecting highbrow material from David Harbour's Violent Night. Right. It's meant to have a good time.
Definitely, you're right. Yeah,
but I think it's pushed to an extent that it's really going to isolate some people, and I think even adult audiences watching this, it's just going to be.
Well, is it just like the action where it's just you get so used to it that it's just not good anymore? It's not really.
Yeah. I will say the choreography of the action was pretty good.
Okay.
There was a lot of fun that the film had with, again, the magic of Santa and how that's used as something to tie back to in action sequences.
Right.
There was a lot of creative work, honestly, there, and I want to give it, some props. That choreography, creative brawls with Santa, around Santa. Other action, though, is cheap and lazy, often where guns are in the scenes. It just feels like a step down, so a little bit give and take on this. As far as when it comes to, again, the comedy, it's very raunchy as well. Like I said, it already has this gross-out humor vibe, and it's also very raunchy. This is definitely the kind of script that has a curse in every line just because it has the R rating already.
Yeah.
And again, I'm saying this in a way to kind of knock the film, but I think I maybe could have been set up walking into this film a little better, understanding what it was gunning for, understanding how gross out, how extensive rated R it wanted to be for the sake of that, in that excess. The excess is the style.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that could be a lot of people's bag.
Well, yeah, just the fact of knowing that, I think is going to help a lot of people who now go watch this
Exactly.
and listen to this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is in line, not that Bad Santa's an action movie, but something like a Bad Santa where you're trying to make like a raunchy, dark comedy out of Christmas.
Sure.
And this is definitely fills equal spots as much as it's a Die Hard and a Home Alone kind of homage.
Okay.
So, already covered on, the action like we talked about. I think my main issue with the story is, despite being directly about Santa Claus, it probably has the weakest interest in all the films we covered this week of being a Christmas movie. I think it's also tries to pull the same type of heartwarming aspects that Fatman pulls off effortlessly, and it's unfortunately a little bit in conflict with just how gory the film is. Fatman you could maybe show to a child. This film, I don't think any child is watching it, and it's like, all right, that's where it kind of mashes poorly.
Sure, yeah.
So its focus is overloading the screen with bloody Mortal Kombat kills. And yes, that is action, but I don't think it's great Christmas action. We're going to go ahead and give Violent Night a 43.
Ooh, 43. Yeah. It's a little bit tough week, Vin.
Tough week, yeah. Not great, honestly. But I really did enjoy watching all these films. I think for me...
excited to talk about them, yeah.
Yeah. It was... I really just enjoyed the structure of the week to, what is Christmas action? What are each of the films? How much Christmas? How much action? What is the balancing act there?
There's not many. I mean, 20 and 22, as far as the years go,
Yep.
I feel like we'll get many more coming in the next decade. I think it will be its own thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Vince. So looking at these, is there anything you want to add, or are we going to roll credits here?
Only thing I would add is just, again, we have some Dynamite weeks. A little bit of preview for next week is Darren Aronofsky as a director. Of course, we have the return of...
Brendan Fraser.
Yes, the return of the Mummy Man himself.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Everyone's very excited about it.
Everyone is very excited. So I'm excited to watch those films, and we have a good kind of Aronofsky semi-special to the episode. So it should be good stuff.
Yeah, awesome, Vin. Vin, thank you so much for putting this list together. Thank you for watching and stopping by. Folks at home, we'll run it down one more time here. We have Die Hard with an 80%, The Long Kiss Goodnight with a 48%, Reindeer Games with a 19%, Fatman with a 75%, and Violent Night with a 43%. Folks, we thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Daily Ratings Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you would you give us a good rating or tell a friend about it? If you're wondering if a film is worth the watch, or if you'd just like to see more movie ratings from Vince, be sure to stop by thedailyratings.com, where we have our ever-expanding catalog of films. Also, if you found value in the podcast or our site, become a producer and go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com. You can donate whatever amount of value you feel you received from us. We're looking to build this into something large and great, but also be independent from those corporate sponsors. So we greatly appreciate any support from you all. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.